Hello. Today, I want to talk about something simple that most people underestimate: personal axioms. An axiom is a rule you choose on purpose, a short sentence you can actually remember, a line you can hold when you are tired, emotional, lonely, angry, or tempted. It is a decision you already made, so you do not have to renegotiate with yourself every time life gets difficult. Most people live without axioms. They think they are choosing, but they are mostly reacting. Their emotions drive the car, their habits grab the wheel, and their values show up only when it is convenient. Then later, they look back and wonder how they ended up in the same loops time and time again. Axioms break loops. That is what they are for. They are not motivational quotes. They are not vibes. They are operational, structural rules. They are what you fall back on when you do not trust your mood, when you do not trust your hope, when you do not trust your fear. And the reason I am making this video is bigger than just self-improvement. Axioms compound. If you're financially literate, you understand the exponential power of compounding interest. This is no different. If you make one clean rule and actually live it, it saves you from hundreds of small failures you never have to commit again. That is less time wasted, less chaos, less debt, less cleanup. Your life becomes easier to steer, not because life gets easier, but because you stop losing energy to avoidable messes. Now zoom out. When you are a parent, your personal architecture does not stay personal. Your kids do not learn from your speeches. They learn from your patterns. They learn what you tolerate. They learn what you do when you are stressed. They learn what you do when someone treats you unfairly. They learn what you do when you want to lash out. So if you build a clean internal rule set, you are not just helping yourself. You are literally reducing the probability that your kids inherit your blind spots. That is what I mean by passing the torch. A torch is not your personality. The torch is the structure underneath you, the set of rules, the ethics, the standards, the discipline, the boundaries, the architecture, the way that you handle pain without turning it into harm. This is what I mean by compounding. If you pass down a clean torch, your kids start their adult life with less debt than you had. They do not have to learn everything the hard way. They still have to live, still have to choose, still have to grow. They just do not have to pay for some of the avoidable mistakes that crushed you. That is compounding across generations. Now, I want to take it one level more abstract, because some people think in these terms. Even if you believe in past lives or twin flames or cycles, you can treat that as a hypothetical lens, and it still points to the same conclusion. Clean architecture now makes future you less likely to suffer later. Imagine the same soul, the same personality, the same weak spots showing up in a different life. The details change, the era changes, the face changes, but the pattern stays. If you do not fix the pattern, you carry it forward. If you do fix the pattern, you reduce the burden for whoever inherits your consequences. Maybe that is your kids. Maybe that is future you. Maybe it is both. So this is not about being spiritual or non-spiritual. It is about responsibility over time. The cleanest way to think about it is a ledger, financially. Every time you tolerate something that corrodes you, you are adding debt. Every time you avoid a hard truth, you are adding debt. Every time you accept a loophole so you can keep a comfort, you are adding debt. Axioms are how you stop creating debt in the first place. And that matters in very mundane, present-day ways. It matters when you are lonely and tempted to reopen a closed lane. It matters when you are angry and want to send a message you will regret. It matters when you want to chase someone who will not meet you in reality. It matters when you want to check something even though checking always leads to corrosion. It matters when you are dating and you feel pressure to abandon your standards to avoid being alone. In those moments, the difference between a clean life and a dirty life is not intelligence. It is the presence of a rule you already decided on. Here is the part people miss. Axioms are freedom. Not freedom in the childish sense of, I can do anything. Freedom in the adult sense of, I do not have to renegotiate with my worst impulses. So, if you are building axioms, you are building a stable backbone for your current life. You are building a cleaner future for your kids. You are reducing the probability of repeating cycles that used to own you and add debt to your ledger. That is the torch. Keep your torch burning clean. Do not let your debt compound over lives and generations. And if you are someone who has suffered a lot, this matters even more, because suffering without structure tends to turn into either bitterness or delusion. Structure turns suffering into wisdom that can actually be used. Final point. Axioms do not need to be many. They need to be lived. If you choose one rule that is true, durable, and enforceable, and you actually keep it and live it, it will change your life more than 100 complicated philosophies you never apply. That is why I am making this kind of content. Not to preach, not to argue with strangers, not to chase outcomes. To put clean architecture into the world that can compound quietly across time, generations, and lives. Thank you.